from past cases. I mean, fresh on our mind will be the May 9 disaster, because that was devastating. And now recent events with the Nsoatreman and Asante Kotoko match, the question remains, why does this keep happening, and what role do clubs play, the GFA, security agencies, in ending such chaos at our games? So joining us, Mr. Herbert Mensah, former Asante Kotoko chairman, a key figure in Ghanaian football administration. He will provide deep insights into the causes of hooliganism, and also Swag Meritorious Award awardee or winner, sports journalist, senior Theophilus Sampa of GTV and GBC News. Welcome to the show, Theo. I'll come to you and I'll go to Mr. Herbert Mensah in a bit, but Thelma Faki is also on the other side of the screen, and she's going to be telling us what she's been up to that's going to contribute to this conversation. So, hi, T, over to you.
Hello, Martiti. Hello, Theophilus. Congratulations once again on winning that meritorious award, highlighting lesser-known sports. Theophilus, our sports reporter, senior sports reporter, won this award at the recent SWAG award ceremony. We are very, very, very proud of him. Yeah. But Martiti, talking about hooliganism, and we know how much Ghanaians love football. And there are many communities where on a typical Saturday, on a typical end of day, lots of young people gather at the school parks, really, because now the community parks are not a lot as they were in the past. So school parks have become the converging point for young men who want to play football together. I remember Asamoah Gyan and his friends used to play at Bawe, Wembley Park, which is really just a piece of road that they play at. Stephen Appiah used to do this in Choco when we were also growing up. So these community places or these school parks have become converging points for young people who want to just, you know, exercise, play football, or even aspiring footballers who want to hone their craft into, you know, getting a call-up perhaps to a club to be able to become professional, to play pro ball. So that's where we went yesterday, myself and Jay Gabra. We went to the Kanda cluster of schools. They have a huge football park, and we went there with one question in mind, trying to get their understanding of hooliganism and its effects on football. So a few of the young men gathered around us, and they shared some insightful thoughts on how hooliganism affects the outlook of the sports. So here is my conversation with some young men at the Kanda cluster of schools football park, which we did yesterday. Have a listen. Yes, you're welcome to GTV Breakfast. We are here to talk about football, which many say is the heartbeat of the nation. Recently, we've heard disturbing stories from the camp of Kotoko and Nsoatreman following that incident that led to the stabbing of one Kotoko fan. Hooliganism in Ghanaian football has long been a troubling issue, and conversations around how it impacts the sponsorship, how it impacts the attendance of games to the stadiums have been ongoing. And this incident has highlighted the need to address the issue perhaps once and for all. May 9th is a stark reminder of where we do not want to be, but this incident that happened on the 2nd of February has once again raised concerns about safety in Ghanaian football. Today, we are at the Kanda cluster of schools. Here, a number of young people gather every day to play football. Today, we are going to engage their thoughts on what has happened and the way forward. Prosper and Mark, thanks for joining me on GTV Breakfast. I first of all want to hear your initial thoughts when you heard that this incident had happened. A key Kotoko supporter, very, very popular guy, was stabbed, and unfortunately he lost his life at the Sunyani hospital. What are your thoughts on that?
Yo, I want to say good evening to our listeners, and I want to say it's very, very bad. The Kotoko is a very big team, and for Kotoko going away to play football, we have to have enough securities, because Kotoko is a good club, and our Kotoko so I'm project Ghana far into some Kotoko bobo and some away security is tight, and our Kotoko so say Kumasi a dom. Wow, fans since I did happen Sa stadium there is very, very bad. It's very, very bad.
Are you a Kotoko fan?
Yes, very big fan of Kotoko. I love Kotoko. Yeah, I love Kotoko.
And you've been to the stadium to watch Kotoko games a lot?
Yeah, at Accra Sports Stadium against Haas. Yeah, against us.
Increasingly, let me bring Mark into the conversation. This keeps happening, and we are seeing what we said we'll never see again on May 9th when we lost so many lives at the Accra Sports Stadium. This time, one Kotoko fan was stabbed, and unfortunately, he died. Why do you think these incidents of violence at our league centers keep happening?
I think like we are lacking securities, and then the president, the GFA needs to do something about that, because losing a fan is most painful part. And then I think we have to just call the leaders to just support the youth, because if we are going for our way and then we can lose the fan, then we are all not secured. You get me? So it will be very sad that we go from here, we go away, and then I'll lose my friend. It's very, very, very sad. So I think the GFA needs to do something about that.
Okay, I've also heard people talk about how hooliganism affects our reputation as a country when it comes to football. We all know that Ghana is well known out there as a football-loving nation, and we've won the AFCON 4 times. Unfortunately, the next one we are not going, but we are trying to bring back the love for our game. How do incidents like this affect the reputation of Ghana as a football nation?
Yeah, I think it's very, very bad, because Ghana football now, like Ghana and Kasana, come on from a footballer. Africa, boy ding like of Kudus Mohammed is all ya dear West Ham. You see, a bet mama, I do bet mama Kudus Mpu, any semenyompu, like on the picture like bad. So, baby of film push, and Ghana Premier League and airborne pool, like it's very bad, because a team like Kotoko Beko aware, I do a very good fan of Kotoko, number Kuni free. It's very, very bad. GFA, send your name on Bremu, and I see starts a sponsorship. Ghana Premier League and any sponsorship be bring. I do happy. Sponsorship in the bed in some wedding. On beba your league no mu. Inti I said when po president in Bemu, one I president in Bemu. Now omuma teams in your back. Now omuma Ghana Premier League and some cost review. And then I'm person can.
So Prosper is talking about how this impacts our reputation as a country. He thinks that this does not augur well for building the love and to inspire confidence in sponsors to even come on board to sponsor the Premier League. I see that other gentlemen have joined us. What's your name and what do you have to contribute to this conversation?
What I would like to see, my name is Jackson Sagbo, and from Sunday going, I watch the view and I see that it is not good for football, because when you look at things, even though Ghana is a big nation, when it comes to World Cup and African Cup, our names are top. But when you look at our league, it's very poor. And look at what is happening. It is bringing the league even down now. We don't have sponsorship. We are doing things to get sponsors, and look at what is happening. I don't think Ghana football is going forward, because when you look at things, we have big players. We are not talking about now, man. We have many big players. When it comes to Abedi Pele, then from Abedi Pele, we see our generation. Even though I didn't watch Abedi, but I've heard what he has done. And later on, we know what his sons have been doing for our country. So even though, if you look at how things are going now, let's assume Dede and now they call Kudus out there selling Ghana outside the country. And maybe you see how the blacks, the white people used to insult our black men. So with this thing, you can see maybe the respect they have for Didi and Kudus out there, it will drop. You understand? And which is very bad. How can a fan go and he's going to entertain his team, and you people do this thing to him? It's very bad. Okay,
Mark here talked about how the GFA needs to step in to intervene and actually put measures in place. Prosper talked about putting enough security on the ground. What should clubs do? Because sometimes it's the fans of these clubs that engage in these acts, because there are some rules that govern the game, but they are not always followed. So what should the football clubs themselves be responsible for to stop this hooliganism?
Madam, let's be honest here. Since football came, when it comes to Africa, we have been talking about security. You will see today, maybe how these incidents have happened. You will see next match, they will bring security. What about the next match? they'll say, oh, let's forget about them. Sometimes they don't think about we the peoples. And if you look at GFA, sometimes he only thinks about the Black Stars, which is very bad. And you can see many players have come from Asofo, Kotoko, and other teams. That's where we pick many of the players to the Black Stars. So why don't you protect them from there? You understand? You don't protect them from there. But after they have reached Black Stars, you people want to protect them. The league have to be protected since the how do you call it, from the grass. But we don't see that. So to me, if we are talking about security, I don't think Ghana will do that.
Okay. Mohammed, what do you also think about all this? And I'll make one last round with all of you. But what do you think about all this hooliganism and its effect on even turnout at the stadium, and then the sponsorship deals that we could potentially lose because of this disorderliness?
Well, for me, I think football preaches peace and unity. So with all that is happening, I think it's not good for the game.
Okay. What advice would you give to football fans and officials who are watching us right now?
Let's preach peace.
Let's preach peace is what Mohammed is saying. What are your last thoughts before we wrap up as well? You've talked about passionately about how the grassroots need to be supported. What's your final word on this?
My final word is we are all human beings. We are all human beings. So sometimes if something happens, we have to be patient for each other. Because Poli, I never knew him, but I could see some of his video at Huntumi station when this incident happened. He was talking about the supporters. Then times they were trying to beat him. So you can see they even mean him before this incident happened, which is very bad. If I did something to you, you should be able to forgive me. And I heard him saying, if he have done something wrong, they should forgive him. So why didn't they forgive him? Then later on they kill him. It's very bad.
Okay. Prosper, your last word on this.
I just want to say football is all about peace. So let's maintain the peace and the unity. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys, and thank you for speaking to us on GTV Breakfast. And these are the thoughts of those who have shared them with us. And they are of the opinion that the GFA needs to put security measures in place. Others say that the clubs need to speak to their members. And the reputation of the football in the country is also at stake as it deters investors and sponsors from the league. So these are the sentiments that these young people have shared with us right here at the Kanda cluster of schools. And this is Breakfast on GTV.
Thelma, thank you with that one. Very invigorating with the young people there talking about their thoughts on this whole brouhaha of violence at our local leagues. Key I did hear them talk about is the sponsorship and how football is supposed to be known for unity, peace and love, and how we are known out there as a peace-loving nation and a football-loving nation. But now this is what our local league has been reduced to. Meanwhile, we have guys or boys out there plying their trade in the international front, trying to raise the flag of Ghana football high.
Yeah, I think that you have all the experts that you need to analyze this story, this situation in a bit more detail. The key for me is the point that one of the young men made about we supporting football when it's at the top level, but not supporting it when it's at the grassroots. So I'll throw that to your expert panel, and I'm sure that they, better than me, will share more insights onto this.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Thelma Thaki brought us that report from the Kanda cluster of schools and the youth and their views on hooliganism in football or violence at our local leagues. Now, news just coming in. Let me just read what my producer sent to me, and I engaged the thoughts of Theo. Also, we have Benjamin Willie Graham, who is a sports journalist with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, who will join us on Zoom. Asante Kotoko, SC, and Hearts of Oak are presenting a joint passion paper to the FA and call for enhanced security in the Ghana Premier League and making other demands as well. So Kotoko and Hearts of Oak are announcing the preparation of a detailed position paper for the Ghana Football Association, emphasizing crucial recommendations to elevate the Ghana Premier League in a strategic meeting held in Accra involving Asante Kotoko's interim management committee and selected members from the Hearts of Oak board and management. Both clubs engaged in a thorough discussion on key issues facing the league. The two esteemed teams have underscored the unified dedication to tackling the pressing concerns of security at match venues throughout the league. And the announcement comes ahead of the anticipated engagement with the Executive Committee of the GFA on Thursday. That's today and tomorrow. We're hearing there's going to be that crucial sitting. According to the clubs, a tragic and unfortunate incident involving the loss of Nana Pole, a die-hard Asante Kotoko fan, is a poignant reminder of the paramount importance of ensuring the safety of all football fans. And both Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko SC are resolute in the belief that such incidents must be prevented in the future. And so that's just bits and pieces of the statement out there. There's a joint position paper being presented to the FA by Asante Kotoko and Hearts of Oak. Asante Kotoko, who have won the league the most times, over 20 times. And, you know, it's unfortunate that they are the center of all of this and the marine. Theo, let me pick your initial thoughts on this. I must also say that we're speaking to a referee who had been attacked. We're talking about fans being attacked and killed, but officials also have borne the brunt of the anger of some hooligans at sports centers. So we're speaking to referee Nasara in a bit all the way from Tamale. Theo? You heave a sigh of relief because...
Indeed, because we shouldn't be sitting on this platform and be discussing this negative. We should rather be looking at how we can really leverage on the potentials that sports has to really elevate society, change everything that we do. We're talking with the big boys, doing the things that are being done on the global stage, and not this archaic, barbaric things that really do not put anything on the table for us, but rather bringing us back. I think it's an unfortunate thing, and once again, my condolences to the family of Poli and the entire Kotoko family and us as well, Ghana football, because in 2001 we were all together and we sang that song or pledged never again. But since then, we see pockets here and there, and it seems it's running, and we always try to just react and then later leave it as it is. And I feel that maybe 2025 will be the turning point for everything that we need to do.
Must we lose lives?
That's the
for
thing.
For a turning point to come.
We lost lives. One of the deadliest and the most worst stadium disasters in the world was recorded in Ghana, and it shouldn't be. And we said never again. You go to the Accra Sports Stadium, and it reminds you the same Hearts of Oak Kotoko fans. Families lost their lives. Some were not counted. 165 or so lives got lost. The others that couldn't be counted, we can't say it. Now, in this 21st century, we started a year, and this unfortunate incident at Inswatre, and I feel so sad, and I still can't believe it anyway, but it has happened. And I think that we need to do everything possible to nip this canker in the bud. It's too bad.
Henry Asantichum is saying he doesn't know when the league is coming back, and Sochaman have withdrawn, Asante Kotoko as well, and then now we're seeing the joint paper of the two biggest clubs in the local league. Let's talk about responsibility and authority in our sports and football space. We have a new man in charge of the sports ministry after the change of government, but for the GFA and some of the pillars of offering, that's Ket Okriku, who is the GFA president. I'm just going to read a few of them in relation to what we're discussing. He did say that he's going to ensure good sponsorship for the Premier League. We're talking about a struggling league and sponsors, how to convince people to come on board. He talks about good media rights and syndication or coverage of our leagues and all of that, which also has questions about how viewers or fans get to watch the leagues from various television sets across the country. He talked about the introduction of a steward system, and that's the security when fans go to a venue, you know, match officials and everything. So a steward system to guard and protect. And the hooliganism one, create family-friendly stadia. No hooliganism is 0.5 on the pointers that Simon Ket Ukriku put out there that he's going to be tackling. Now to your stewardship at the venue, I did hear discussions that they paid for an ambulance, but even the ambulance was not anywhere near the venue. They couldn't find it. And so the handling of Poli when the Studley incident even happened, You know, is it that we are just so callous, irresponsible? We don't care about human life. We hear it in other aspects that we don't value life. It has become cliche, and so this is happening.
Titi, when it happens this way, we get so many school of thoughts. People complain, people talk about it. But again, if we should sit here and say there wasn't any ambulance, we will not be saying the right things. There was an ambulance there. No match as we speak now. Any match, whether the venue is safe or not, we get an ambulance to be present. So the medics were there. We get security. But all that we ask is, were they enough? Looking at the type of game that was being played.
The crowd control.
We've been told through the Okujeto Commission and the white paper that matches should be categorized. There are some matches that should not even be played in the evening. They should be categorized. And so we ask ourselves, where did we really relax and allow these things to happen? There are so many scenarios out there that we can really touch on. But the issue is, all the factors that have been raised, maybe we didn't really go in full force and we relax the system because for some time now we've not seen quote unquote anything and we couldn't pick up the signals. The GFA has a security committee. So if we say the GFA really erred or failed to follow their own rules, then we have a problem. So we need to go back to the security and ask them that what really happened. On the field of play, if you watch that video circulating, we saw security men at the stadium. They've been told not to carry guns on them when they are at the stadium. We saw stewards. When Kotoko bus was coming in, there were confrontations. We saw young men in lemon green vest. You've seen them behind them, they've written stewards.
Right.
And so you ask whether the stewards were enough, whether they've been trained enough. It's another subject we can talk about.
Right.
You look at the perimeter that we're talking about and the area, the instructor stadium, and you ask yourself, how did these things happen? How did even the regulators allow such a venue to be played? Then you go back to square one. So everything that is happening, we've talked about it before, we've seen it before, and when we even say we are running a Premier League, I keep saying, when we say a Premier League, none of our teams qualify as we speak. If we are supposed to go by the rule, none of our teams qualify to be called a Premier team.
Wow.
Seriously. Because some of the fundamental things that we need to see as a Premier League club, some are now rushing to meet them. So it is serious, and it's a call for all of us to take a second look at it again. And I feel that with this energy that has been galvanized based on this unfortunate incident, we will turn it into something good, and at the end of the day, it will benefit all of us.
We're hopeful. Let me go to Zoom and speak to Benjamin Willie Graham. He's a sports journalist with the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, and he's on Zoom now. Graham, good morning to you, and thank you for joining this conversation. Let me pick your initial thoughts on how you felt when you heard this unfortunate incident.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martita. Good morning to Theo and everybody. I think it's very sad that we are talking about this. Somewhere in 2021, I wrote an article which I headlined, "Hooligan Crocodile Must Be Killed." And I intimated in that article that hooliganism started way back in 1349 in the UK under the reign of King Edward. And if the starting point of hooliganism is in the United Kingdom, they have gone through the processes to ensure that they don't, repeat those dastardly incidents back then. Now, Theo mentions the very beautiful architecture we have in terms of preventing some of these things, in terms of stewards and the rest. But Motiti, here in the UK, all the clubs have something we call safeguarding policy. And safeguarding is different from security. When you provide safeguard, what you're doing is that you're providing safety to anybody in any environment. It could be your house, it could be schools, it could be the stadium. So if you go into the websites of, say, Liverpool, Manchester United, Manchester City, and other clubs in the English Premier League, you have the safeguarding policies well written there and boldly displayed. Now, what are the safeguarding things? You're talking about that the person entering the stadium has to feel safe. Therefore, you can provide security, but you're not providing safety. These are two different things. So when you read the statutory statement, they say that, oh, the incident happened outside the stadium. Now, the safeguarding rule says that until the last person exits the stadium, the match is not over. That is safeguarding. So then the question is that if you take a look at all the stadiums that we have, most of them are not safeguarding certified, because the safety of the person or the people going toward the game have to be made available. So you pick a bus in the UK and you are told the safeguarding rules, what you need to do in case of any emergency. What are the SOPs? Where do you need to go? Who do you need to contact? These things are spelled out for you. So we don't have those things spelled out. Now, the big question I asked, how many of our stadiums are insured? How many? We have not asked these critical questions. Majority of our stadiums are not insured. Therefore, anything that happens there, you cannot take anybody on. So you go to the stadium at your own risk. That is what it means. So Pole died at his own risk, unfortunately, because he cannot sue a structure man, neither can he sue the stadium management or anybody. So these are the critical questions that you and I need to ask. So anybody who enters any public space or venue, you do that at your own risk, because you don't even know the safeguarding rules there and what you need to do. Right. So I think that when we are dealing with some of these hooligan activities, we all know, and most of these guys who are perpetrators of some of these intimidating acts for most of our clubs, we know them. These are guys who are very, very, very close to the clubs. And you and I would, see some of them as friends, but some of these things, they do it as though they say that we want to, intimidate the fans or the away teams a little bit. And the unfortunate aspect of our football is that every home team wants to win at all costs. So it doesn't matter, or it doesn't care how it happens, but that person would have to be punished. So if you're an away team and you're going to a home ground, you have to be punished by way of losing at all costs. And these are the things that we all know. We are aware of it. It happens. But like I said, if we stretch the argument, the thing is that we are not safe going to watch football matches. We women, children, the old aged, the disabled. We are not safe. Our stadium doesn't have disability-friendly accesses. Our stadium does not tell us how safe we are and who is responsible for it. So, like I'm saying, providing security does not mean that you are safe at the stadium. That is one aspect we need to take at that. We need to clarify. So seeing a policeman there doesn't mean that I am safe watching a football match, because there must be somebody who is responsible for my safety at the stadium, and somebody who must ensure that I leave. I've had opportunity of watching a football match at Old Trafford here in the UK. I've had opportunity of watching matches in different stadiums here. You don't see policemen or soldiers, but whether outside or inside the stadium, you don't. And the individuals you see them with the lemon green are the safeguarding officials. Their job is to ensure that you are safe watching a football match. The seat you are on, it is safe. The staircase you are walking on, it is safe. They ensure that everything that will make your life comfortable is done at the stadium. It is not the job of the policeman to ensure that you are safe. So you have officers who goes around intermittently ensuring that everybody is okay watching the game. That is the safety we are talking about. Okay. And I think we need to stretch the argument a little bit into the safety of everybody.
Graham, what is it? Do we need funding to put some of these things in place? You have had the purview of seeing how it's working, in Europe versus how it is on the ground here, to get this stewardship thing really working. Banning and fining, what is it that we cannot practicalize in our local setting here? Because it doesn't seem like we're going to see the end of this hooliganism if stuff like that is not put right.
The fact is, I always say to people that in Ghana, problem of other countries, but we don't know our own problems and how to solve them. We have enumerated very beautiful things on a paper that you read, what we need to do, and we have them. But who is responsible for the execution or implementation? That is the aspect that is lost. And so the solution is simple. Our football we know the red zones in Ghana football, or Ghana Premier League. We know the red zones. We know the areas that, whatever it is, the fans are very passionate about their football. They want their team to win. And so there's a need for a lot more in terms of, dealing with people who want to be very much, who are trying to disturb the situation. Now, over here, what happens is that the clubs register their fans. They have the database of their fans. Because even when you're buying tickets, it asks for your email address, your telephone number, and even where you live. So the tickets are online, and it takes data of everybody who is even coming to the stadium.
Right.
And then the tickets is being scanned. So the data is there to know the fans. Now, if you misbehave, Motiti, the club bans you. The club itself takes the first step of banning you, and before the FA even fines the club or deals with the club. So the first point of responsibility is the clubs. The clubs take responsibility of whatever behavior the fans put up at the stadium. Secondly, if you also look at this particular place, every league game, every home team has a designated sitting area for the away teams. So for instance, 3,000 away teams are allowed to watch matches away from home. So if you go to a place like Old Trafford, you would see the designated 3,000 space for the away team. If you go to Emirates, it's the same thing there.
Right.
So the away teams know exactly where to sit. And the home team supporters would not even dare go and sit there, because they know that that is not their designated area. And the seats are numbered. So or we all have to agree, if you go to Accra Sports Stadium, we know where Chapter O sits. We know where the Kotoko people sit. Nobody told them. They themselves found themselves there and decided to make that place their sitting area. And in that same space, you have Hearts of Oak fans also sitting there. If you go to Kumasi, you know where the Kotoko supporters sit, just under the, the scoreboard. And in that same space, you have Kotoko supporters also sitting there. So we have just made the same arrangements. If you go to other places, you are told, oh, you people should be here. It is not enforced. It is just an arrangement. But I'm saying that in other jurisdictions, it's a policy, it's a plan. Nobody is allowed to, do anything. So I'm saying that who is responsible for the execution and ensuring that the execution is done 100% and nobody goes, wrong with it? That is where I say that we need to pay attention to the execution of most of the things we write. And if we go by it to the letter, Montiti will find solution to all our problems. We'll find solution to our problems.
Graham is saying the same thing, that Ghana, we say we have good policies on paper and all of that. And he's putting it on the doorsteps of authority, responsibility. I mentioned this already early on, Theo. And with what Graham is saying, it's not rocket science. These are things that we should be able to do, setting arrangements, banning, fining, certain fans who are, exuberant and they make trouble at these centers.
Every setting and the way they do their things. Let's look at the country called Ghana and what we do. We've been playing football for years now. One key thing that enables football to be beautiful is the facilities we have, the stadiums. How many state-of-the-art stadiums do we have in the first place?
A very big question.
Now, if we decide that we only use the state-of-the-art facilities that we have, it is only 4 now, also 5. Let's say now UG, so 5. We have 16 teams here, scattered all over. We are playing the league as to reflect the nation. So we have teams from other places participating.
Right, north, south, east, west.
So for instance, the venue in Stratford, if you look at the area, they don't have that state-of-the-art facility. This is a facility, yes. So the club licensing authority, if even they are supposed to enforce the law to the letter, they decided that they were banning the stadium till we get seats, till we get this. Someone will sit, and we, the same media people, will sit and say, why don't we start from somewhere? They will get there. The avenue over there that the incident occurred, some were standing on rooftops, some were on trees, watching the game. Is this a training ground or a main match venue?
Main Premier League.
So this is a Premier League.
Right.
And even if you look at the proximity between where the fans were sitting and the perimeter, so anybody can belt anything at you. Right. And again, you look at where it is and how even the steward or any other person will prevent fans from coming to the stadium and saying that I'm not holding anything. That's their arena. So we look at all these things. So the factors that really need to take care of is, one, the type of infrastructure we have, whether it is friendly, like Graham has said, whether it is even the Accra Sports Stadium, Baba Sports Stadium. You go and you're a person with disability, and it is sad if you don't have somebody to really help you.
The vulnerable groups are just
so it is there.
overlooked.
You go and then you ask yourself, where do you sit? There are so many things wrongs that, but again, Are we playing a Premier League? If you are pretending to be playing Premier League, fine.
It sounds that way, Theo, when you
so
say
we
it
need
like
to
that.
all rise up again and ask ourselves questions. If somebody says, okay, then stop playing football, when do we get it done? How do we get it done?
Black Stars, so let's ban.
Yes, there is a global way of doing things, but in our local way, how can we leapfrog so at least we can mimic what is being done elsewhere?
That is working.
Graham has been part of some clubs and knows. The bad boys, we know them. Everybody knows. Club administrators know who are the bad boys.
They're causing trouble.
The last time I heard Kumasi Asante Kotoko na Krasufo trying to register their fan base, it became Buhara here.
Yeah.
I remember Nanaya, all the Kotoko people, Nanaya and Ponsa and Co. When they started doing these things, a lot of people didn't really understand. The man who even brought professionalism in Ghana football is Mr. Herbert Spencer. Ask him the fire he faced from everybody in the football ecosystem. Today, we'll turn and sing praises to him and say, oh, we didn't see the vision on time. Imagine this man was still around and doing these things.
Definitely.
So there are so many things that we need to do right here, not necessarily follow them, and then we'll get it right.
And then we'll get it right. That's the larger, goal and what we want to achieve. Theo, just hold your thoughts. I'll come to you. We have referee Nasara Mohammed on phone. This is a victim of hooliganism and violence, and she was attacked in a game in Tamale. And the perpetrator, want to find out how justice has been going. Hello, referee Nasara. Good morning. Welcome to GTV Breakfast. Hello, referee Nasara. Can you hear me? Hello, referee Nasara, can you hear me from the studio? We're trying to work the phone lines and see if we can get referee Nasara. Hello, yes. Referee Nasara, Dasaba, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you. So we just want you to tell us briefly what has happened with your case. Where has it gotten to pursuing justice after you were attacked?
Good morning to your panelists. Good morning to your viewers.
Right.
Okay. What happened after the incident? Hello?
Yes, go ahead. We can hear you.
After the incident, the man was arrested, and then he was sent to court.
Right.
The court, we went there for like 6 months. After the 6 months, the judge said they will be jailing him for 1 year, which his lawyer appealed on his behalf. So they now change it to a unit.
Right.
So he was asked to pay some amount of money. That's 6,000. So that was how it ended.
No, okay, 6,000 Ghana cedis. Do you know if this money has been paid? To which quarters the money has been paid? Hello, referee Nasara, can you hear us?
I can hear you clearly.
Hello, maybe let's just rework the lines. But can you hear me now, referee Nasara?
I can hear you.
Unfortunately,
not too clear.
Unfortunately, I'm sure it's the network that's messing with us this morning. I just wanted you to end on what you'll be doing going forward and what appeal you make to the authorities, of the Football Administration, the NRFA, and so that you are safely protected as officials.
Hello.
Hello, referee Nasara.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's your appeal to the NRFA and the authorities so that officials can be protected when you go doing your work?
Again.
What is your appeal from your authorities so that when you go doing your work, you don't get attacked? And when you are attacked, you get justice.
Hello.
Hello, referee Nasara. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I was just asking. Yeah, I was asking what is your appeal to the authorities?
What is my appeal to the authorities?
Yes.
Okay. Me, what I have to say about this, our refereeing and then this, our supporters and the players. You see, when it comes to football, a lot of people love football, but they don't actually know what is football.
Right.
Football is a game that we just go. Maybe you are happy today. Oh, I just want to go and like free myself, go and sit down and watch football. You are happy and you come home. But it's like they put all their minds in the football. At the end, they don't watch some of the let me excuse me to say the coaches or the supporters. They don't read the laws of the game.
Right.
Because they don't read the laws of the game, a referee will take a decision, and then the coach himself will say, "Oh, this referee, what you are doing is not good." And we all know our rules and regulations and the channel of communication. When a referee makes a mistake, there is a channel that you need to follow, but not to lose your body, or it's because you say you have macho or you want to fight for your rights.
Right.
You have a way. There are times that a referee will make a mistake. GFA will ban the referee for some time before bringing the referee back. But I would want to appeal to the they should also read the laws of the game and understand football. Once they understand football, and then when they referee, and please, I want to even make of this one too. This referees always they say with the referee who cheats players or supporters.
Right.
No, we don't cheat. I'll go to a match before the appointment will come. We see that some of the coaches will be calling, "Oh, we want this man." You call other people to also call. So once we say no, I won't do it. I won't send the man.
Right.
We'll begin to see, oh, this referee is coming to cheat us. They should remove the mentality of we the referee cheating.
Okay, so they try to.
Mind that, we are coming to play a game, whether the referee cheats us or not. We are going to win the match.
So these attacks happen when they try to manipulate you, to manipulate the game to favor them, and you don't. This happens when they are trying to get you to corrupt the game for them and it's not working. Then they start saying these things.
Hello.
Can you hear me, Referee Nasara?
Yes, please. Come on.
Yes, I'm saying, so this happens sometimes when they call you and try to get you to fix the game for them, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We'll definitely come back to you. This is a running issue, and we're speaking to referee Nasara Mohammed. She was attacked at a game in Tamale. You just heard her with the allegation of how some coaches call for them to fix matches for them, and when that doesn't happen, it results to accusations that the referee is not being fair, and then leads to some fans attacking them, or even some members of, a team, a management of a team attacking. Quite unfortunate, Theo. Let me pick Graham's final thoughts on all of this, and then Theo wrap up for us. Graham, you've heard the referee as well. You've heard Theo's side of things and what you have recommended, localizing and then letting it fit into our setting and all the excuses. And when people even try to do it, like Herbert Mensah, who was former CEO of Kotoko, the kind of, opposition they face.
I think that, Motiti, the thing about football is that it is not just about the 3 points that you have on the field. Football has moved beyond just the 3 points. There's something we call the fan engagement. Most of the times we don't have that in our books. Fan engagement is basically telling you other activities that you put in to let the fans enjoy the game. So for instance, you walk into a stadium here, the fan is engrossed in the activity. Outside, that's what is happening. So let me give a typical example because that is where I've been mostly. If you go to, for instance, Old Trafford, as soon as your ticket is scanned and you walk in, you go to what we call the hospitality arena, where the food, the drinks, and everything is sold. Over there are a lot of, what you call it, flat screen television. You can sit there and watch the warm-up, whatever. There are entertainment activities that goes on there before you eventually get to sit and watch the game. So the fan is not only worried about what happens on the day, because even if Manchester United is not playing well and losing matches, the stadium is always filled to capacity because the fans are experiencing something different. And because the football club is also part of the community, a lot of high schools and primary schools have been adopted by the clubs and they do a lot of activities for them. So at the end of the day, they are part of the club and the club is part of them.
Right.
So nobody is willing to do anything that would hurt the reputation of the club because they love and they're passionate about the activities and the success of the club. So what we need to do is to change the narrative that the fun engagement aspect of the football is very important. Either fun is made or we create that in a safe, entertaining environment, you would realize that people will go to the games, they may lose the match, but there's a certain entertainment they are having over there because there's a raffle draw that is happening outside the stadium. There is pick and choose. There's a lot of things that is happening. So people generally will go to the stadium not because of the 3 point, but the other things that they probably take away, they will have and then go home with.
Right.
Those are the things that people will be, happy about.
Okay.
So let's begin to create the fun and engagement, attitude by both clubs. And then the tension will go down from we need to win and get a 3 point and people go to the stadium. How would you go to the stadium with a knife or a gun? What for? It is not
quite unfortunate.
It's a game, not a war. For me, that's the tagline.
Yeah.
It is just a game. It is not war.
Right.
So you don't enter the stadium with a knife, with a sidearm, with machetes. What for? I mean, why? What's all about? So
Thank you.
Let's safeguarding principles must be made available and clear to everybody.
Thank you so much for those perspectives. Benjamin Willie Graham. Theo, please wrap up for us in a minute on what you find.
Once we stretch this argument and find possible solutions, I feel that maybe in the course of everything, we should look at how to improve the standards of officiating, one, and then also we bring in stricter measures in place. For instance, imagine at the Instructor Stadium, there was a CCTV installation there. Everybody who contributed one way or the other, or everybody in the stadium could have been seen. If even the police are going to use it, maybe a CCTV camera hiding somewhere at somebody's premises can help. So imagine all our facilities, we have CCTV cameras. Even if I know that there is a CCTV camera here, I know how to behave, so I'm not caught.
You are
so
kept in check.
If we manage to put these structures in place, I feel that it will be a win-win for us. And again, since the infamous one, the 2001 stadium disaster, when we talk about punishment, even if it happens, like what our sister said, we don't hear it. And so how strict are the punishments? How harsh are the punishments so that I will not do it again? But here lies the case that you can do it and then the CEO of the club will go to the police station and go and plead on your behalf, and then you'll be allowed. And so if the punishments are harsher, maybe we might change. And again, for us, the media, some of us are part of the problems. What we go on air to say, what we write, how we incite our fans, we should take a second look at it. And club owners, win at all costs should end. Win at all costs.
Win at all costs.
And remember, the fans, some of them are there because of betting. This appetite for betting.
It's
and
also
so if they don't win, it creates problems. And when the media adds it, it's like pouring acid or gas into something. It will explode. Engagement must be done, please.
Definitely.
So that we save lives.
Very vital point, Theo and Benjamin Willie Graham, who are both sports journalists at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. But we will definitely have another part of this conversation, but we have to leave you now. A multi-decider Saturday. Coming up, marriage and finance with Valerie Domesek.
menya bibi ni besia menya ndia amemede makumenyina